WW7 and DOG monitoring.
Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, WW7ATS. Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, please Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That'll take you to our homepage. There you'll find the frequencies we transmit on, a little background on our club, and also you'll find a link to YouTube where we stream our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 with a specific tone of 103.5 for Cougar Mountain. So I will pause momentarily in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact on the 08 machine before our net gets fully underway. This is Dave, KD7CYM. Hearing none, again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Already checked in by a video link is Jessica, KF7UHK, Bob, K9PQ, Richard, K7ITX, Jim, N7QO, and myself, Dave, KD7CYM. Anybody else who would like to check into the net this evening?
Good evening, Dave, WU7N, Whiskey Uniform 7 November, Northeast Bellevue.
W7N, we got you noted down. Anybody else wish to check in? None. We'll start off the net with Jessica, KF7UHK.
This is Jessica, KF7UHK. What a gorgeous day today. Just a week ago, I was saying, you know, I think summer's over and we went directly into winter. But today it has proved me wrong. I guess we do get a fall. It might be a short fall, but we're getting a little bit of a fall. Sylvia and I took a little drive today because we were looking for places to take good pictures, and I was hoping for water or rivers or the Puget Sound. So we made it down towards Edmonds, almost along the beach, but in these clumps of beautiful, gorgeous houses. You know, you got your several $million houses, and these ones had to be multi-million-dollar houses because they were in beautiful places and they were giant. So that's kind of what we did today. And then we made some chili for dinner tonight. And a couple days ago, or actually last weekend, we went to a swap meet and bought ourselves some, about a half pound of peppers. We got a couple of jalapenos, a couple of serranos, a couple of habaneros, and a fistful of Thai chili peppers, which I really like. And we blended it all up with an onion and some other things and turn it into a pepper sauce. And then you take that and you stick it in ice cube trays and turn it into little packets of hot. And it was really hot when we started out. It was really extremely hot. But today in our chili we used two of those ice cubes worth of peppers, and it turned out really, really good. And it wasn't too hot or anything. I could have used a third. So that's what we did up here in Everett. I'm going to pass it back to Jessica. KF7UHK.
UHK. Let's go to Bob, K9PQ in Bottle.
Well, good evening, everybody. Jessica, nice to see you with us, and good on you for making that peppers. I've never heard of putting it in ice cube trays, but that's a nice way to have small portions, I guess, where you don't need any containers. All you need to do is keep them frozen. That's not bad. Well, I had a rather adventurous day today. My friend Chris, KCMUS, came over, and we went down to St. Edward's Park. And in order to avoid the sunny stretch of grass, we took a trail that's a little more difficult trail. There's a nice, wide, level, well-groomed trail for anybody to walk. It's just a bit of a elevation down to the lake and then back up again. So it's not an easy walk, but you're not going to have any trouble with it. Well, this other one is a little more challenging, and I happened to take a wrong step and twisted my ankle. Fortunately, I caught it. So I stepped wrong on the ankle, folded it over, but I was able to catch that and get up off it. But I had been stepping down a step at the time, and by pulling up that lower leg that I was just stepping on, I went a tumble right over the edge of a fairly steep hillside and slid about 5 feet or so, and got scratched up a bit. There's a little bit, I don't know if you can see it or not, a little bit on my head, but a bit more, I don't think you can see this. Let me see. On the arm, scraped my knee up pretty good, so I'm a little bit of a wounded soldier, but nothing terrible. I didn't hurt my ankle badly. My knee is a little sore, but I think I just bruised it. I don't think I hurt anything really badly, but I'm just going to be a little sore for a little while. So that's my day. I'll have more to say about Chris's visit next time around. K9PQ.
PQ. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX in Kent.
Okay, hi everybody. So anyway, I got up at 4:30 this morning, and I haven't done that on purpose in a long time. I had to have the alarm clock set. It was it's a big day for me. Hadn't been out to the track with our Datsun 510, and God, it's been a couple months anyway, and I think it was middle of July in Portland, and gosh, here we are in October, for crying out loud. And so my job was to get the hamburgers and hot dogs and all stuff like that. I got breakfast sandwiches and of course the ice chest that goes with it, and drinks and things, but geez, I had to get up at 4:30 because it wasn't just getting. In fact, the stuff I just described you get at the grocery store, but of course I had to pack the ice chest and then all the other junk that I like to take, the scanner and you name it, earplugs, a change of clothes, which I never really changed into shorts. I should have, sunscreen. It just, the list goes on, and I don't want to forget anything. And then the first race is at 9:30 or 9:35. And so you really need, so 2 hours before the race, you really want to be kind of getting set up, and that's 7:30. And so to get there by 7:30, it just goes, you kind of work yourself backwards to the point where next thing you know, you better get up at 4:30, you won't be able to do everything. So I did, and I made it, and I'm here to tell you about it. So there you go, K7ITX, back to net control.
ITX, let's go to Jim, N7QO in Covington.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Well, let's see. Yeah, nice day today. I can't say I did anything outside the house, but sure was pretty anyway. I guess tomorrow's supposed to be nice as well. And then back to winter? I don't know. Yeah, Jessica, fall. Well, just wait, the leaves will come tumbling down. That's probably where they got the word fall out of it. But anyway, good to see you. Ice cubes. Yeah, I wonder what that bubbling brew was. Was that someone's watering hole? Someone's swimming hole? Looks a little warm for that, but maybe that's what the water does if you throw some of those habaneros in the water. I don't know. Just curious where that water hole is there. Bob, oh man, sorry guy. I don't do stuff like that anymore. I've had similar experiences just walking around the house here. Sometimes there are critters, I don't know what all they are, but there are some things that burrow under the ground, and one day, actually 2 different days, I kind of fell into one of these things. One day I messed up an ankle a little bit, and the next time I messed up a hip a little bit, and I said, never again. If I want to go for a walk, I'll just walk on the treadmill. So that's what I've pretty well been doing. And it works out better for me because I don't have to worry about wearing any pants or anything, so it's really a whole lot more pleasant of an experience. And I don't have to worry about maybe dogs or something taking off after me. And one of our neighbors put something on the Homeowners Association website about a massive nest of hornets or wasps or something like that. They went by these things. There's a sign that we have on the property, not us, but the Homeowners Association has, and it was a little crooked. So this fellow and his wife tried to straighten it, and they were swarmed by these things, and they started running. This fellow said he was like 400 feet away, and there's still 1 or 2 of these things on him. So they had to get some treatment for that. Not good. So there are several reasons why I don't do things like go for hikes anymore. So, oh, Bob, I feel for you. And Dick, 4:30. Oh man. I now that I'm older, for some reason, I tend to awaken earlier. But to awaken at that hour and start cooking breakfast for everyone, I'll tell you, my idea of breakfast would be more like cold pizza. So maybe I could sleep an extra half hour or so doing that. Next time you should consider that maybe. If the guys don't like it, they don't have to eat it. I would feel that's more for me. But I don't know. That's good of you to do that, and it looks like you had fun. We saw some video there of someone working on a car anyway, so sounds like you had a good time. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
QO, thanks for that. Let's go to James, WW7N in Bellevue Land.
This is James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue. And, well, Jessica, I have to say your pepper cubes sound intriguing. I might try that. I've actually got 4 peppers, fresh peppers, that someone gave me. I just chopped off a little piece of one and ate it, and I go, this isn't so hot, but it took about 30 seconds, and then all of a sudden it became really hot. so I guess they're much harder than they seem. Yeah, I hope you heal quickly. That's too bad you twisted your ankle. And I'm glad you didn't, go all the way down the side of the mountain. It was good to stop after 5 feet. Let's see. I'm glad to hear Richard's back to the races. It's worth it to get up in the morning if it's something you really like to do. It's easy to do. So I'm glad to hear that you're back doing that again. And Jim, I kind of got mixed up there. I guess you said they went out to try to fix a sign in your neighborhood and got attacked. I'm more aware, particularly of the subterranean hornets, but most recently around here for the past couple of summers, there's been very few insects around my house. It's kind of spooky. Today, when I was out walking, I saw a dead garter snake lying in the road, and I thought maybe. Am I back? Nothing is here, nothing is here, nothing is here.
James, this evening when you're out, you're not transmitting, so your push to talk is not working or something like that. So when you're transmitting, we hear you fine.
Well, let me try upping the power a little bit. There could be a number of things that have changed. I'll move up into the camera so you can see when I'm trying to talk. And with that, I think I should turn back to Dave, our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Go ahead, Dave.
WW7N, this is Dave, KD7CYM in Lake City. Oh, another beautiful day. 65 degrees now. Clear skies outside, so I guess we get another day of this come tomorrow. I did get a text from Lee. He was off to a music festival at the Crab Fest, so I don't know if the crabs sing or what, they play instruments. I don't know what he's going to be able to report back on at the Crab Festival for the musics. And for Jessica with peppers, oh my gosh, freezing them, but I'm kind of concerned. You got hot peppers and you put them in the freezer. Does the container melt or does it finally freeze? I'm just kind of curious about that. Bob, oh my, walking to water, but not walking on water. So anyway, sorry to hear about twisting an ankle there. And Richard, oh my gosh, Richard's catering service, I think we got going, something new. So I guess we have a party, we know who to call on to at least fix breakfast for a mass amount of 6. At least. So anyway, congratulations on his catering service. And Jim, oh my gosh, bees, they do have a sneaky way of catching up on you. If they come from the ground, you got wasps. If they come from up above ground, you just got hornets. So anyway, who knows what it was, but boy, maybe they were saying, ignore this sign, get out of here. Maybe that's what they were trying to say. Oh my gosh. And James with peppers. Oh my gosh. Oh, I remember when I was a teenager, I found I got a jalapeno pepper from the neighbor and cut that up. And unfortunately, I rubbed my eye and I thought I was going to go blind. Oh my gosh, it like stung. I thought, oh, this was it. I'll never see colors again. I'll never be able to see people. But it took about a half hour, and then the vision did come back. But I learned my lesson. In handling peppers, wash your hands completely, or use gloves while you're working with the peppers. Oh my. And I probably should get an ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, net. On the 08 machine, I'm Dave, KD7CYM. So with that, let's go to Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dave. Good evening. Ron, KD7QKU. Sorry I was late. I was asleep on the Davino here, watching or listening to TV, I guess. I've been feeling bad the last week. I'm trying to get a stomach ulcer, or I do have one. And so last night I decided I had to increase the medication, omeprazole, that I take for indigestion. I decided to increase it considerably and take some other stuff. And I've been drinking Mylanta and eating Tums. That just hasn't been able to control it. I think I'm going to make an appointment and go see the doctor this week. And I got in just on when Jessica was talking. Sounds like they went for a ride today. Today would have been a beautiful day to go for a ride. They always talk about going over Highway 2, but you can go up to Snoqualmie or Chinook Pass and then drive down into eastern Washington, and it's just beautiful over there. We've done that many times. Then Bob taking a little tumble. You're lucky, Bob. I guess you didn't hurt yourself more than you did. Richard, of course, I think he's been taking care of these guys at the racetrack now for quite a while. He's out of practice. So anyway, I think they're in good hands. And let's see what else. Jim, we were up at the archery course once, and there was this little nest hanging up in a tree, and kind of right over where we were standing. And there was about a half a dozen of us, and it wasn't very active, but for some reason I decided it'd be a good idea to knock it down so that it wouldn't grow, and maybe knock it down and destroy it. So I reached up with my bow and I hit it, knocked it down all right, but they were inside asleep, I guess. Because everybody was running in every direction. I don't know if anybody got stung, but everybody was saying, "What in the heck did you do that for?" I said, "Well, I wanted to get rid of it so somebody wouldn't get stung." But anyway, let's see, James. Yeah, no, your radio works good when it works, and I think increasing the power made a difference. And Jessica's got pictures of something, and I can see the cars moving. I don't know what city it is, but I'm sure it was when she was traveling. All right, like I say, sorry I was late. Back to net, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU. Let's go to Jessica. KF7UHK.
Ron, that is Alaska. I think that was Anchorage. Like a day before we got onto the ship, we spent a week up in Alaska, and we were going to go walk down to a pizza place down about 5 blocks away. So I set the camera up and just let it run while we went off to go have our pizza. And you probably can't see it on the resolution I have sent over, but somewhere in there you can see us walk down the street and make a corner down there. And I think that's kind of fun. I wish I had a flashlight so I could have flashed it back at the camera while I was on the ground. Yellowstone, that was that bubbling pot of water right there, just really close to the main lodge where Old Faithful is. And next time I go to Yellowstone, I'm taking an infrared temperature reader, because that's really hot. That's got to be really hot water. I did not stick my fingers in it, and I did not walk off the path to take that picture. And they have very strict rules about that. But I would love to have been able to know exactly how hot that really was. And it's not just straight water. It's very mineral water. Bob falling. Maybe it's because it's fall. Try not to do that as we all get older. There's so many more things you can do to yourself other than just a simple bruise when we get to this aged age that we're getting to. So like that. And then when it comes to peppers, I also put in, and part of our
our cook down, we put in we cooked it down in white vinegar, a little bit of brown sugar. And the thing is with this pepper sauce, you know, you have all these different peppers that kind of react differently on different parts of your tongue, along with the sugar and an onion that was in there. So they all kind of affect your tongue differently. And as Sylvia says, different taste buds open and slam shut, and that gives you the really great feeling and taste that happens. I heard something about cold pizza. I think it was from Jim over there, and we have a frozen pizza in our freezer from California Kitchen. It's a frozen pizza, and it has hot honey in it. It's like peppered honey that you put on this pizza after you've cooked it. And I was skeptical, but it's really, really good. And usually I find it at the bargain market place. So with that, I'm gonna pass it back. This is Jessica KF7UHK.
WHK, what a hot topic you have for presenting to the net this evening. Let's go to Bob, K9PQ.
Well, thanks for all the sympathy, guys. And yeah, fortunately, like I say, nothing is wrenched, or I'm not having difficulty walking, just a little bruised and scraped, and so a little uncomfortable, but doing just fine. So my other part of today with Chris coming over is he brought with him a 5-watt QRP transceiver that's about the size of a credit card, looking down from the top, and about an inch thick. The thing is tiny. You have a single USB connector going to it that handles the sound and the control of the radio. So you do all of the control from it does have like a few controls. It has one knob and one push-to-talk button, and that's pretty much it. But it does have a mic and a speaker. But he was doing FT8, and he was getting results. He came over and used my antenna because gets out a little bit better than his, and we got this guy who we are calling our nemesis, N6PE, does FT8. I mean, he was doing it in the middle of the day today. I have seen him doing it around midnight at night. It seems like every time we go out and look at FT8, N6PE is transmitting, and we can never get him to come back to us. we respond to him, and no go. He just keeps doing CQ, and so I think he's probably got a very powerful station, and so we get him gangbusters, but he doesn't seem to get us. But N6PE is become a joke because he's literally there. It seems like every single time we get on and fire up the FT8, we see N6PE putting the CQ out there. Yeah, Richard, good for you on the racing. 4:30 a.m. is awful early to get up, but man, it sounds like a great day getting out there. And Jim, yeah, I used to have a treadmill. I sold it or gave it away to somebody or something like that many years ago, and unfortunately, I'm on an upper floor, and I would be disturbing the neighbors downstairs for sure if I used a treadmill. I do have a stationary bicycle, but right now what I'm doing is my mailbox is about 90 feet vertical. It's not long distance, but it's a long way up. So it's like climbing up to the 10th floor of a high-rise. And I'm going to get the mail, walking up to get the mail every day, and so that I've been doing that for a few weeks now, and it probably helped me a bit with this fall. It didn't help me avoid the fall, but it probably helped me survive it a bit. So it's that much better than if I had not been doing it. And I'll move on to the stationary bicycle eventually, but for now I'm good with just doing this to kind of just get things going. I've been sedentary for far too long, and as James says, that's That's the new smoking, just not moving. So, gotta keep moving. Okay, back to net, K9PQ.
And it's time for another ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX in Kent.
Okay, well, yeah, Bob, I'm glad to hear that you came out no worse for wear, and so, you know, I hope you take the challenge of other hikes and walks like this. I'd kind of like to live through you virtual because I can't do that right now. I am basically confined to the treadmill, but the treadmill is my friend. The treadmill has is helping me to get stronger and stronger. And not on the treadmill today. I walked 3 miles and monitored my oxygen saturation in my blood, and it stayed. I kept it in the 90s and still had a very enjoyable time. And like I say, covered 3 miles. That's really cool for me. And it's because it's an exciting event. N6PE, yeah, there always seems like there's someone like that on HF. You know, I mean, they're just there all the time, and who knows what they're running, you know, I mean, 1,000 watts, I don't know, I mean, it's crazy. So, anyway, that's a pretty funny story. So, our situation, you know, there's always problems and controversy in the events we go to, and for us today, everything seemed to be going good, and then we just, boom, lost power. And so we had to get towed in, but we had a pretty good place. Out of 20 cars, we had qualified 7, and this is competing against you know, big bore. They had us classed as big bore, like a ground pounder. So we were struggling against you know, full-blown Corvettes and you know, NASCAR-style Mustangs. Oh my God, it was awful. But somehow, and you know, Cobras dancing around us. It was pretty wild. But still, I thought qualifying, you know, 6th or 7th was pretty cool. Except we broke. And so when the car came in and Josh, our driver, started describing what happened, first thing that came to my mind was, well, that sounds just like a rotor in your distributor coming apart or breaking or failing. Because I've had that happen a couple times in my life. And so the first thing I asked him is, you know, I was looking at the distributor, you know, I don't like to suggest too much because I'm really a rookie, and I just don't like to. So, but I did ask about, you know, electronic. Is it electronic? Oh yeah, it's electronic. And so, okay, I just kind of left it at that. Well, and so we went through the whole painstaking process. First, checking compression. Compression turned out okay. And then the next thing, looking for spark. We've got spark in all cylinders except 4. No spark in 4. And so couldn't quite figure that out until we opened up the distributor, and there's this chunk of plastic had wedged in somewhere, and so we got the plastic out of there and it fired right up. But then at further examination, the rotor was toast. So now this is where I come in. It's my job to go find a a rotor for an old car. You know, those are not easy to find. And I ended up in Kent, of all places, not too far from where I live, at some parts place. I don't quite remember the name, but it was really fun. I had my, I have my own sponsor type colors. You know, a special shirt and hat, and like we're sponsored by Amsoil, as some special oil people like, and the guy at the car parts, he says, Amsoil, oh my God, I sold cases and cases of that in the old days. Was he excited and proud that he was able to find the rotor exactly to match what had broke? And then made it back to the truck just in the nick of time, 45 minutes to spare, and we got out there. But we're disappointed that they've got us classified wrong. You know, we're not a large bore car, but any stretch of the imagination. And so after we were done later that afternoon, we complained and got reclassified as medium bore like we should. So instead of coming in last as far as classifications go, hopefully we'll come in first tomorrow. We got 2 races tomorrow, so anyway. It felt really good to get out there in the good weather and smell a lot of fumes. K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks for that. Let's go on down to Jim, N7QO in Covington.
See, Wade is here. Might be busy doing something, but I see him on the screen anyway, if you want to check.
Sure, I could do that. W7ITL. Wade, are you there?
Yeah, you guys can hear me okay? All right, perfect. Yeah, tonight I'm trying out my built-in or my hand mic. Normally, the last 2 or 3 sessions I've been using my condenser studio mic, which I'm not sure if it's any better. It's right there. But yeah, and I don't know if I'm actually on the right frequency. Let me just double check to make sure I'm on the right tone. On the wrong tone. This should sound a little bit different now. I was on 110. My radio always resets itself back to 110. I have to get a programming cable and reprogram my channels in my radio because it's hard coded when I reboot. It goes right back to the 110. Let's see. Not a lot today other than the weather was just wonderful. It was like 80, 82 here in Tacoma. I had to look at I did a double check. It's like, really? Is it 82 degrees in October in Washington? That was just amazing. And I got out of the car and said, whoa, yeah, it's 82. And the air conditioning, I didn't even notice until I got out of the car. A couple things, let's see. I'm going on another trip out of state. I'm going to be going to Nevada tomorrow afternoon, and I'll be back probably Thursday. I'm going to go see another concert. Me and my wife have been just in this concert kind of thing. We saw ZZ Top 2 nights ago, and it was really good. Seeing those guys, they just really can do a good show. You know, he's been doing it for like 50 years or so, those guys. Let's see, what else? Oh, I found my car keys with all things today. I thought I had lost them, I almost gave up, and then I went to the dealership today because I have a tracker on them, and there they were. They're showing up, and it's like, you guys got my keys. I know it because my tracker says they're here. Well, let's look, and we looked and looked and looked. And then one of the guys got the idea, let's go check the other side of the dealership. They were in the place where you get your pickup for Lyft. Or had dropped them off, and nobody had let me know that, I guess they didn't know who they belonged to. And so I got those back, and that was really cool to have those back because it was bugging me not knowing where my keys were. But still, car is still out. I don't know if anybody knows, but my Ford Explorer has been out of commission for like the last 6-7 weeks now. My niece, we were training her how to drive the car. She got banged up, but they repaired it, and then we got it back, and there was a transmission problem. Transmission finally got approved by our insurance company to get replaced. So now we're just waiting for the part to come in. So that is it, I think. And I'm not sure if I'm going to make it to the next round. I got a few other things I'm doing tonight. I'm trying to get ready for tomorrow's flight, so I'm getting everything washed, getting all my clothes in the suitcase. I did this whole thing over again. We did it last week. We were in San Diego, so we're doing it again. All right, well, this is W7ITL, back to net.
W7ITL, thanks for dropping in on the net. Now let's pick up Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, Ron, I would say, yeah, you definitely should see a doctor about that. Man, good luck seeing a doctor. I made an appointment just a couple of days ago, and it's not going to be until late January is his first appointment. It's I don't know what's going on with the medical care here, but getting to see doctors is getting to be a real challenge nowadays. I don't know, but definitely need to get that checked out. Jessica, Yellowstone and Anchorage, thanks for that. And pizza and honey? Huh. I have some pizza, and I have, okay, mine's not frozen, but leftover pizza. And I have some honey, which I happen to get at a certain discount store that begins with a C. Maybe I should try that. I think I never thought about that, but I'll let you know. And Bob, yeah, you know, I had a beam antenna here, but I did not have a rotator that was strong enough to really stand up to the winds that we get here. So I just put it on a mask, and I pointed it kind of like to the southeast toward Florida, and I was thinking it would help attenuate all those people in Six Land, all those people in California would be attenuated at least a little bit, because frequently the folks down in Six Land come booming across the radio. So, but it might be that like he already had a contact in Washington State or something. Maybe he was just looking for contact somewhere else. You don't know, so I wouldn't really feel too slighted that the guy ignores you. But yeah, it's frustrating. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents on that. Oh, and thanks for mentioning that TRUSDX. That sounds. I'm going to have to check that out. I'm intrigued by something that small, with a built-in speaker and microphone. Holy cow! And let's see, Dick. Yeah, my wife cannot stand the treadmill, but she has since discovered YouTube has a whole bunch of videos out there. You could go while you're walking on the treadmill. You could pretend you're walking through a park or through some city or through a different country, whatever. Go there and look for treadmill videos, and so it makes it a whole lot more pleasant for my wife. She really likes it anyway, and she's she's keeping track of where she pretended she ran a track. I don't know. Does that make sense? Anyway, she logs where she viewed when she goes on the treadmill. Wade, thanks for showing up, man. This sounds like you got a lot of work ahead of you. Packing for trips can be a real pain. Have a pleasant experience and a safe experience, and we'll see you whenever you make it back. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
7QO, thanks for that. Let's go to James, WU7N in Bellevue.
WU7N, am I coming through okay? It was a matter of just turning the power up a little bit. That always fixes a bad microphone button, doesn't it? Well, okay, so I want to make sure I maintain my perfect record for being the perfect hired consultant for Bob. N6PE is Richard Darwicki in Yorba Linda, California, obviously. So that is a totally useless answer to you, but absolutely accurate. I want to be sure I put that in the comments on the digital channel. But also, did you ever consider that you don't know who he is, but maybe the reason he's not answering you is he knows who you guys are, which, you know, is always an uplifting thought. Yeah. Well, anyway, that's what I thought I would toss out to you there for N6PE. If you're listening now, you can join our net at 8 p.m. on Wednesdays or Saturdays. Don't forget, I don't know, Wade, maybe you had to drop off, but 103.5 is just for this net. The rest of the time, the repeater is of the 110 PL tone, so don't forget that. Still with us or not, but next time you go out to bubbling piles of goo, you want to take an optical thermometer with you and just see how hot it really is. I mean, is that going to tell you anything more than what you would know if you stuck your hand in it? Yeah, it's really hot. So, but yeah, you would know exactly how hot if you had one of these. So that's always a plus. Hey, Richard, I'm glad you found the rotor. The last vehicle I worked on, it has a rotor, but it still has an electronic ignition. Is that wild or what? Is my 1987 Nissan truck. But my other vehicles, I don't think have rotors on them. I'm not sure how they sense the right time, but it's some sort of electronic ignition. Some sensor in there decides where the top dead center is and when to fire everything off. So here's another useless bit of trivia. Does everybody remember Slick 50 oil treatment from the 1980s? Well, that I looked it up, and that is still around, and I found this answer to, can you still buy it? Because I was kind of thinking, well, is it still out there somewhere? And I found this answer on the ever-helpful internet, which I'll put there in the digital channel, and the new name of it is that's XCEL+, but I got this answer off an Australian website. So I don't know, is that something you can still buy in the United States or not? But the PTFE treatments were, I think, an offshoot of the space shuttle. But so I thought that was kind of interesting that there's at least one in Australia that claims to be the original Slick 50 formula. That's all I have for trivia and fascinating things that you could only find out from WU7N. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back to our net. Looks like we've got about 10 minutes left of the net. So, Dave, take it away.
WU7N, thanks for that. I would think that would be a competitor to Bardol here in Seattle with the oil treatment. Who knows? Anyway, and that thickens up the oil. And get off to Bob, K9 or KD7QKU, that hope his stomach is feeling better. Sometimes a little more milk helps with that, soothe the stomach. But anyway, wish him well and a speedy recovery from that. Oh man, what a way to start a problem. So, oh my. So that's about it. This is Dave, KD7CYM in Lake City. So let's go to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, thanks again, Dave. KD7QKU here. Well, Bob, my friend in Boise, that's all he does is QRP. and he uses those little tiny radios and a little battery and a antenna. He has a fishing sinker tied on the end of a cord, and he throws it over a tree limb and ties it to his vehicle and sits down on the picnic table. And I don't know if he uses Morse code, so he uses a key, and he gets all over the world. He might have headphones. It might have a headphone plug in it. I don't know. I would think maybe it did. I know that he sent me one, but I don't do Morse code, so I returned it to him. And let's see. Talking about that guy that was putting out the CQ call, there was a guy, and he might be there now, I don't know, on 10 meters, and it was just constantly CQ. And I tried to return his call a few times. He was on just about every day, a real strong signal. Finally, some guys came on, and they said, hey, this guy is he thinks he owns this spot, and they all said he may have a recorder on, I don't know. So they all used 4-letter words and told him, they just all started cussing him out. So they hate him. And so you can look him up on QRZ. I looked him up on QRZ, and he's got a pretty good website, so you could probably look that guy up. But so he would just put a recording on, and it would just go on and on endlessly for, I don't know how many hours a day. And whether or not he recorded people that responded to him, I actually talked to him once, believe it or not. So whether he recorded me and then heard me call or something, I don't know. But anyway, the rest of the guys hated him. And Richard, over in Europe, and maybe over in the Scandinavian countries, they just love rally racing. So I have a TV channel, and that's just almost all that's on it. And they use small cars, and they're not racing next to each other. They're just going down these roads. Some of them are in villages, and some of them are in woods, and some of them, there is narrow roads, and they constantly show wrecks. They go around the corners, and they roll over, and they hit trees, and they hit you name it, and they hit it. So it's I think maybe that's why they show it, is because there's so many wrecks. I mean, there's always somebody on these, and then all the people along the track, they all run over, and they tip the car back up, and once in a while they take off, or the car goes in the ditch, and 30 people run over there, and they grab a hold of him, and they all drag him back up in the road. If the 4 wheels are on it, and it's runnable, they take off again. So it's they just love it. They just do it constantly, rallying down the roads. So anyway, what else do I have? I guess that's about it. But anyway, if you get that guy's call sign, you can look him up on QRZ, and you can see where he's at. He might even have an email address on there, and you could ask him what he's up to. So anyway, back to that KD7QKU.
Thanks for that, Ron. And get an ID here. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK.
Okay, yeah, and I just want to mention to Jim, it's actually hot honey. So they've taken some kind of pepper or pepper substance and infused the honey with pepper sauce, and so it looks like honey, but you taste it and it's like, oh, that's hot. It's peppery, it's spicy. So, but a little bit of honey on anything is not a bad thing. My last picture I'm showing there is also from Yellowstone, and you look at that and you kind of go, that looks like something that'd be nice, just fun to jump into. However, once again, it's probably 212 degrees or higher. And once again, I would like to take my digital thermometer infrared and point it at that and see what's going on. And I sure like to know the chemical composition too, because I'm sure it's not straight water. I think it's really, really dangerous. So, and people do things like chase their dog, accidentally going after their dog that jumped in, and then they don't make it out, and they get a lot of their skin burned off, which is probably really painful. Sylvia is back in the background here, laughing at what I'm saying. So, you know, it's like that, or have your eyes surgeries. With that, I don't think I have anything else to say. So this is Jessica KF7 UHK.
KF7 UHK. Let's go to Bob G9PQ.
Hey, very good. Well, I thought it was interesting, Jim, that you commented on Wade packing. You must be a packing expert. I would love to get some of the tricks of the trade for packing that that you have to do to fit everything into a small suitcase to take with you when you were a pilot. That would be kind of interesting to me to find out. So Ron, about the transmitting, the one guy you found out about where he was just transmitting. I don't want to cast any aspersions. I don't know anything about N6PE or what he actually does, but there is a feature in the application that I use for FT8 to set it up to automatically transfer, because it can work completely automatically, which I don't think is quite kosher. I think, you have to be a control operator. You got to be there with the rig when it's happening, but there is that feature, and you can even set it up for certain times a day on certain bands. So it's really set up very well for automating the whole process. Rally racing. Especially after what I just experienced today, that is a sport for young people. Definitely for young people, preferably like in their late teens, early 20s. You start getting too much past 30 and you do not want to be in a car that's rolling over. I don't care how good the roll cage is. So, yeah, but I think it's really cool. I'd love to see one. I've only seen videos and things. I've never seen a rally race live. I think it'd be fun to do. And yeah, Jim, good idea on the treadmill videos. When I bought my stationary bicycle, it was supposed to have something built in, like with VR even. So they would have these videos, and you put on VR glasses, and you could look around and see where you're riding, and it's very immersive. Well, that fizzled because it was a discontinued model, and they didn't continue to offer the software to do all of that. But I think a really good alternative is to just get what you're talking about. Just whether it's treadmill, they probably have them for bicycling as well. Just videos where it just looks like you're just looking at a screen in front of you, but you can see the scenery as if you're going through there. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So that's something I'm going to look into. Especially as the weather gets worse, I'll be doing more exercising indoors. That's for sure. And Jessica, yeah, finally, I meant to mention this before, talking about when we get to our age. You know that as well as anyone, since we were born on exactly the same day. We are the same age, so we would know. Okay, sending it back to Ned, K9PQ.
9PQ, and for a final, let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
I too would like to, commend, or I don't know if that's the proper word, but Covington Jim, your wife, watching these videos as if she's actually, riding through the streets of some place. Well, that is precisely what brought me back to the depths of my horrible disease back in January. Dr. Noah Greenspan out of downtown New York, he had traveled, and clearly he must have had a GoPro camera on his head, because he walked all through the streets of Paris and Greece and Rome, and so through his 42-day boot camp, you'd start out, the first day you might just walk with him for 4 minutes, and then progressively over time, and next thing you know, you're doing it for 30 minutes. And but it was so cool to be climbing the steps of the Eiffel Tower, or this and that, and through the out streets, the narrow streets of Italy. It just was so motivating, and so I just love the idea, and I just thank Dr. Noah, for doing that for all of us who found a way to nurse ourselves back to reality. And so anyway, oh, by the way, yeah, I have shorts on. So anyway, so okay, yeah, I guess it's 9 o'clock, so I'll say 73, everybody, K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks for wrapping up the net. And this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. We'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.8 with a specific tone of 103.5 for our nets. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7CYM, terminating the net at 9:01. Good evening all.